Welcome to today's presentation, Successful Social Media, Finding Your Voice. My name is Gail Falkenthal. I spent 20 years as an award-winning journalist, editor, and producer, and now my full-time profession is public relations consultant. I have expertise in effective writing and communication on various platforms, including social media. So today, we are going to focus on social media communication skills and how you can improve yours by learning to communicate in a voice other than your own. Welcome to today's presentation. In our role as public relations professionals, we learn how to create messages to communicate with a specific target audience to get a desired result. Whether we want people to buy a product, support a cause with donations, attend an event, or vote, we want some kind of action to take place. In our role as public relations professionals, there is a brand new Star Trek series on television, Star Trek Discovery. And like every other Star Trek, the cast includes a diverse array of characters, humans and aliens of many different types, with different backgrounds and different personalities. There is a brand new Star Trek series. Meet the person who is responsible for creating all those characters. She's scriptwriter Kristen Bayer. She also wrote scripts for the Star Trek Voyager series. This woman has to create all the dialogue spoken by these different characters in the distinct style of each character. Now, she doesn't have to be one of these people to be able to speak like one. She's effective because she knows and understands what drives all of these characters. This is a good thing because we would have a very hard time finding a Klingon scriptwriter. Meet the person. You also need to get to know and understand your characters. You have two. You have your client and you have its target audience. Your client will define the target audience, but it might turn to you for help. The more you understand what defines the target audience and what motivates them, the more effective you will be at figuring out how to communicate with them. So, for example, are they parents? Are they politically active? Are they athletic? Do they travel? Do they love action movies or comedies? What's their age range, their gender, their education? Once you start getting a clear and specific picture of your audience, you'll be able to make smart choices about how to create messages in a way that will resonate with the audience and motivate the audience. Diversity is a term we hear and use often. Diversity is the recognition of the different backgrounds, experience, and framework that defines an individual. This chart demonstrates various aspects of diversity, although it hardly covers it all. How do you know which audience characteristics should matter to you? They're determined by your client's communication goals and objectives, and what it is about your audience that you can tap into to motivate them to take the action you're looking for. Diversity. A word of caution here. Your audience is never the general public. This is a lazy label. Dig in just a little, and you should be able to come up with a much more specific description. And when you figure this out, you'll be able to reach your audience successfully with messages that are meaningful specifically to them. It's the communication version of a tailor-made suit. Let's imagine you have a client who sells skateboards. To research who the average skateboarder is. So in this case, we found a report from the Action Sports Marketing Group, published online. It told us that 80% of skateboarders are male between the ages of 7 and 17 with an average age of 14. Skateboarding is increasing in households that earn more than $75,000 per year. 38% of skateboarders come from these households. 3 out of 5 American teenagers watch action sports online or on TV. The number one place for skateboarding is a home's driveway. The average skateboard price is $100. The average price for skateboarding shoes is $110. So here's your target audience. Teenage boys who live in a house with a driveway, whose family makes $75,000 a year and watches action sports. Now, knowing all of this, we'll figure out how and where to communicate with your buyer, who is your target audience for skateboards. And you might want to communicate with their parents, who are probably going to buy these items. Your communication content should be created specifically for each target audience. This is the beginning of a relationship with them, and you need to speak their language. Now, this means more than figuring out whether you need to be in English or in Spanish. It means figuring out whether your audience wants written information or visual images. It means whether they prefer brief, to-the-point facts or whether they want more detailed research. It means what kind of tone or attitude do they prefer? Do they want to be spoken to in a serious way or a casual way? Is humor effective with them? Your communication content. What style of communication will feel most authentic to your target audience? Is it formal or informal? Should it be analytical or emotional? Should it be thinking or feeling? Funny or serious? Should it be trendy or should it be timeless? Should you be sharing or should you be the authority? This only scratches the surface, but it gives you an idea of variables you can consider. The right answer is dictated by your client, by the audience, and eventually, whether you're successful in reaching your goals. Be sure you avoid stereotyping. This woman, 82-year-old Batty Winkle, has 3.2 million Instagram followers. She's a more popular influencer on the club scene than most 20-somethings. Brands including alcoholic beverages, makeup, and fashion lines are paying her big money to represent them. Not all older people are in assisted living. So be careful your assumptions. Don't insult anybody. If you're not sure, this is where having diversity within your organization can be very helpful. Be sure you avoid. With all this information coming at your audience, how do you make your message stand out? Well, there's no substitute for making your audience feel that they've been understood. Every time you communicate, you have the opportunity to connect. Focus on providing information meaningful to your audience. Meet their needs, understand their preferences. Don't waste their time. Respect the audience and communicate with them with sincerity and respect. Solve their problems and care about them. One way to learn how to write for clients is to find successful examples. So let's look at a few. These are all from a client's Twitter account, but these clients are successful across all their communication channels. Their communication is well researched, well thought out, specific, and consistent. Mercedes-Benz is a luxury product, and the company makes no apologies for it. The best or nothing. Its communication is formal, elegant, and aspirational. You'll not find any street slang and no filtered photos. Character and style is conveyed through beautiful photography and thoughtful quotes. Mercedes. At the opposite end of the spectrum is the fast food chain Wendy's. They've become well known for their humorous, snarky social media. It's got a take no prisoners attitude, Wendy's is willing to go right after its competitors' weaknesses with well-written jabs. Wendy's is willing to push the envelope in the name of the brand. And it works. It's the tone Wendy's has set, and it's let its audience in on the joke. At the opposite end of the spectrum, the communication team behind the Wendy's account makes it look easy, but it's not. This is the product of a very well-defined set of rules. This team is walking a tightrope between being funny and being mean, and you need the highest level of writing skills to be able to pull this off. Let's turn to a few examples outside the business world. The U.S. military has embraced social media communication. This example is from Marine Corps recruiting. It's highlighting the work of the Marine Corps and the opportunities available through military service. This is one of many posts featuring Marines providing disaster assistance after recent hurricanes. It's meant to be inspirational, and through the exposure, the Marine Corps hopes it will inspire someone to consider serving. The VOUS Church in Miami, Florida wants to encourage people to become part of its congregation. Its social media messages are warm, welcoming, and inclusive. Notice how this message asks you to put on your Sunday best, when it's obvious the people in the photo are wearing comfortable, casual clothes. So the real message is, come as you are. The tone is light, it's friendly, and it's fun. These are people you might like to have as your own friends. The VOUS. Now we have an example from the entertainment world. RuPaul's Drag Race knows it can push the envelope with its audiences, who embrace and enjoy both the fun aspect of drag culture and also the activism for acceptance. So the message includes a well-known rallying slogan from the gay community, and in the introduction to the post below the photo, you see a little wordplay that keeps the entertainment value front and center. Now we have an example. Whoever your client is, don't try so hard to manipulate their voice in the effort to connect with a target audience that you lose their authenticity. You don't want to be the dad trying too hard to be cool. Let's focus for a minute on images. Images are critically important to your communication. Photo quality and authenticity are so important. You can't overlook this. Your audience will immediately recognize a stock photo or a staged photo, especially if there are people in the photo. So take a look at this obviously staged photo. Now, even if these actors were wearing real boxing trunks instead of suits, it's obvious this is not real. Let's focus. Now take a look at this photo. There is no doubt this is the real thing. It's authentic. It tells a story. It's exciting. It's full of action. Your audience will know the difference. Advise your client or company to use real photos whenever possible. Fight for authentic photography. Authentic photos do cost more, and they're often more difficult to get, but it's an investment in quality communication, and your client will never regret it. Now take a look at every stage of communication. You should also be listening. Give your audience a way to provide you feedback. Pay attention, and no matter how negative it is, don't blow off anything they have to say. The audience knows more about themselves than you do, and when they're willing to share, even when it's negative, it means they're developing a relationship with you. You'll learn from positive responses that things are going well. But what you learn from negative responses is maybe your audience doesn't understand what you're trying to say. Or maybe You used a tone that's a little bit offensive. So before you waste more time and budget, change and improve your messages based on the audience feedback. This is the value and the power of two-way communication. Your audience can become part of your communication team, so put in the work for you. At every stage of communication, how do you begin the process of developing an authentic voice? You need to put yourself in someone else's shoes and walk around in them for a while. Figure out what kind of people they are. Learn about them through the information they use. Read their social media feeds. Learn their likes and their dislikes. How do you begin the When you're engaged in the creative process, put a picture in your mind of the person you're communicating with. And think about communicating with that one individual. Invest time in developing a solid foundation of writing and communication skills. The very best writers read a lot, and they also write a lot. It takes 10,000 hours to master any individual skill. So you better get started. Let's briefly review a few key points. The most effective social media connects with your audience on their terms. Think of yourself like a scriptwriter, creating the voice of a character. Your characters are the client and also your client's target audience. Using research and observation, create effective messages that embrace the target audience's preferences, but stay authentic and true to your client's organizational culture. Observe, assume, and practice. I hope you'll find these tips useful. Good luck, and thank you for your attention. I hope you'll